This is for the people of Butler County, Alabama, and whoever else wants to waste 5 minutes of their time. I've spoken with many people about many things, from transcendentalism to communism to string theory to why those pants are called capris. I've taught many people many things, from human anatomy, genetics, and theologies, and more. I've also learned quite a bit from other people, from leadership to love and hate. I do not wish these words to be mistaken or misused, so I will say, as plainly as I can, to address exactly what I mean to convey to the few that might watch this. Plainly put, I'm a vulgar man. I cuss almost every other word. If one is foolish, I say so to your face. Perhaps I shouldn't. Maybe, if I truly believed in leadership by example, I should quit smoking. For if I'm to ask my children to respect their father and do as he does, I can hardly do such things. Yet, in addition to teaching them the concepts of leadership by example, I've taught them, also, that not every leader they will encounter is a good one. There's good and bad and resident in each of us, and I'm no exception. The key is to learn from both good and bad leaders. For in the bad, one learns how not to do it. I was a parent, taking my daughter to and from school at W.O. Palmer. I myself was going to school. I thoroughly enjoyed those days because, while I knew the schools were in trouble, I had no idea of the extent to which their situation was dire. I was asked to serve as the school's PTA president. I was assured I would have a great vice president, and I did, in the form of the county's engineer. I accepted, because I foolishly allowed my hippie parents, in their insatiable lust for hope of a better day, to cloud my more pragmatic side. Upon arrival in Greenville, I carried on my life as I always have. I speak with everyone, from a drug addict to a cop. I try to befriend everyone with no care as to what is proper or expected. Upon arrival, I saw three sets of people. Castes, or classes, if you will. The first was the average to poor white people. The second was the blacks, regardless of financial situation. And the third was the upper crust whites. I quickly saw the line of thought with the latter of the three. They tended to be generationally landed, children attending private schools, which had been built within a few years after the crushing of segregation. These folks have certain names that allow them to basically do whatever they want to. And that's fine, because that's how it was in Boston as well, and I assume it's how it is everywhere. But at least here in Greenville, no one ends up floating in a river. I tended to hang out with the poor people, because that's where the realness is, to me, lack of a better term. These people deal with the life of trying to pay bills, stealing from Peter to pay Paul, raising their kids, and trying to hold true to the ideals from long-dead generations that have ultimately led to the creation of the life that they have. I saw old, not hatreds so much, but distrust. Distrust and disdain. From white and black, vice versa, to rich and poor, vice versa. My generation is beginning to come into its own now. We're raising our children now. We're burying our parents now. And we're learning about the world. Or not. I say not because we aren't. We tend to look through the glass darkly, and that suits us just fine, because the glass was provided for us by people that love us, but we had no hand in the creation of it. We are told to look out for oneself because no one else will. And to an extent, this is true. But to the most important extent, this is utterly false. I live in a section of the nation that claims patriotism as a virtue. Yet the feeling behind the patriotism is misguided, in my humble opinion. It takes the form of sacrifice in the military or in public service. Yet, One does not need to wear a uniform and carry a rifle, nor a badge, nor ride a fire truck to render the greatest service one could possibly perform than that of being a good parent. One that is involved in the entire life of the child, because every generation that has lived and died before us has done so that we could live. Every single one of them. I've spoken with people that demand their own time, that the schools in which we enroll our children are there for a reason, right? Yes, they're there for a reason. They're there to teach the children, not be babysitters, and it's not a place where you can just dump the kids for 9 hours out of the day so you can go off and do your thing. But these people are not even close to being the most influential people in a child's life. You are. You, the parent, teach them every day, from yelling in traffic to being dog-tired after a day's work and plopping on the couch, beer in hand, clicker in the other, mindlessly flicking through the channels. They're watching you. They watch you when you fret over bills. They watch you when you have spousal arguments. They watch you when you're at your worst and when you're at your best. They're always watching, and they're always learning. What are they learning? They're learning how to be. They're learning what this life is supposed to be about. Because if it's good enough for their parents, so the logic goes, then it's good enough for them too. So I ask you this. Are you leading the life you wish? Are you satisfied with the life you're living? Is the life you lead today, at this very second, what you wish your child to lead? Or do you wish them better? Do you wish them to lead the life they want to as cognizant and responsible citizens of this nation and this world? Personally, I want my kids to be able to do whatever they want. From even the most terrible school systems come great minds. From poverty can come greatness. Books aren't necessarily the key. Money isn't necessarily the key. Nor are computers, a nice gym, great facilities, a new football field. None of that shit matters. There are two keys, and this has been borne true in such fantastic examples as Booker T. Washington. Teachers and parents. Those, my friend, are the keys. Of course, our state's constitution is insanely backwards, but has government ever kept up with the thoughts and ideas of the people which it rules? No. So while the government figures out whose pockets to line and whose palms to grease, we're stuck in a loop. Leadership is dangerous, an often lonely and tiresome road. If you make the wrong call, you're an idiot. If you make the right call, you don't take credit for it. You must consider our situation as in a state of warfare. We're battling for our children's right to contribute to the world. They have a great future ahead of them. Opportunities to overcome great challenges we've not even foreseen yet. We're battling for our collective futures as a community, as a state, as a nation, and as a world. There are many evils in this world most of us have only seen on a television screen, thankfully. Yet this distance cannot excuse ignorance to that evil's occurrence. We're falling behind where once we led. If this is allowed to continue, we may never catch back up to the head of the crowd. So parents, love your kids totally, and you will have done your duty to this nation. You will have made your mark on the world, and all the days you'd lived can't possibly be forgotten, because the lessons you teach them today and tomorrow will echo through the ages. If only you'd push the power button